Take it from me, injuries are a part of the game, but they don't always have to be. Physicians and trainers can work with athletes to predict the future and try and change it. How? That's simple, with a little thing called science. Injuries can derail a game, season, or even a career. But what if you knew what injuries you are most at risk for? And what if you could reduce that risk? Let's learn more from the pro at St. Louis Children's Hospital.
Your muscle composition, flexibility, and strength are all different from someone else's. And because of that, the risk of different injuries varies by individual. The most common injuries we see in young athletes can be acute or overuse injuries in the knee, ankle, and foot. Acute injuries happen when there is an immediate mechanism to the injury, like rolling an ankle or coming in contact with another player. Overuse injuries happen gradually, over time, from repetitive motion, such as running or jumping. The key to injury risk prevention is knowing which injuries you are at risk for.
If young athletes have different body types and are at risk of different injuries, how can you tell what injuries they are most at risk of?
Young athletes between the ages of 12 and 18 are more susceptible to injuries because they're going through puberty and growing, and their muscles and bones may be growing at different rates. But through proper analysis, similar to what the Blues do, we can help these athletes understand what injuries they may be more susceptible to and give them the tools to reduce that risk. With the Aspire program, we take youth athletes through a series of lower extremity tests and motion analysis. These tests provide data we can use to identify key factors of injury risk reduction, including flexibility, strength, balance, and functional movement.
Okay, just because you may be able to predict what can happen, that doesn't mean you can change it from happening, right? How can young athletes reduce their injury risk?
Once we identify what the injury risk factors are, we can develop a specific training program for that athlete. If we see poor body alignment during motion, then that may cause an injury to the athlete. This tells us to focus on correcting the athlete's body mechanics before it becomes a problem.
The Blues have been doing this kind of analysis and injury risk reduction for years. Each player participates in evaluations throughout the season, and they have individualized training programs to optimize their performance. This puts them in a position to stay out of the team doctor's office and on the ice, right where every fan wants them to be. All thanks to a little bit of luck and a whole lot of science. This is the science of St. Louis Blues hockey.